Welcome to this edition of the Birdwell Foundation Podcast on PTSD. Hello, I'm Mike Gonzales, the South Texas Chapter Director for the Birdwell Foundation in San Antonio, Texas. And today's featured guest of the week is Shemaiah Reed. Shemaiah, welcome to this podcast. Tell us a little bit about your experience with thinking about suicide.
In college, I was in University of Toledo, and just a little back summary story before I ended up at University of Toledo. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of interest in school, education. I was always bored out of my mind. I was the creative thinker. My mind was always outside of the classroom versus being in the classroom. So I didn't really care about school growing up. And then my sister, when I got older, my sophomore year in high school, she introduced me to a program at Ann Arbor, Michigan, Washtenaw Technical Middle College. And she basically just pushed me and said, hey, challenge yourself, push yourself. And at first I was in denial, and then she convinced me. I gave it a shot and changed my course in my direction education-wise. And speeding up to the University of Toledo, after I finished my education with my high school diploma in Ann Arbor, Michigan, I had earned my associate's degree in general studies and certificate in music production engineering. Stay a year later in Washtenaw Community College, same campus. They just have the high school program on that campus. I pursued my 3D animation associate's degree. And Toledo came as an opportunity to be the next level of education, and they offered me a scholarship. And when I went there, I was on fire. I was happy. I was excited. And then I just kind of lost some steam. I started having the old habits of my childhood of not caring about class, not caring about applying myself because I got comfortable. And I started having bad time management. I was loved playing basketball and being on the court, and I was just wasting my time, just overkill luxury, spending time having fun versus hitting the books. And I started slacking in that. And it came to the point where I was like, oh, I can just wing it. I can just make it happen, do good on the exams and midterms and finals. No. I started slipping. My GPA started slipping. And then I got the letter that every college student wishes they will never get. And that's a warning saying, if you continue down this road and don't get your GPA up and get your grades back up, you will not only risk losing your scholarship, but you'll be placed on academic probation. Well, all of this is just built up to a threshold of me just being overwhelmed with myself, because I was always in the way of myself. I was always trying to compare myself to other people's lives, and always making excuses why not to apply myself. And way back in the day, when I was younger in kindergarten, I was bullied. So having all this baggage and troubles that I never dealt with God, because I got saved when I was 18, but I grew up in church, but I had my personal relationship started at 18. So all this is building up to this moment where I said, man, I can't take this, man. This is just too much pressure. This, it's embarrassing to get this letter. And I feel like I'm embarrassing my family. And, I don't know if I can get my grades up. I just kept making all these excuses. And the longer I dealt in that, the darker it got. And it came to the point where I said, you know what, maybe I'm not even supposed to be living, man. This is, maybe I should just make everyone have, a better life with me not here.
And these are thoughts of suicide.
Yeah, these are thoughts of suicide. And I just kept making excuses like why I shouldn't get my grades up and get my GPA up and just apply myself. I was trying to take the easy way out and say, you know what, how about I just end my life now? How about I just end this pain right now? Just avoid the hard work to get through this and just give up. I wanted to give up. And so there's a time I was in my apartment. It's like right down the street from the campus. And I got a steak knife, and I put it towards my throat. And I'm just like, man, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should just end it. Life would be easy. It'd be over. I don't have to worry about anything. But it was something I heard in me or felt in me, but I just felt it was saying these words. I'm not done with you. And it was at that moment, I'm just arguing back like, well, nah, don't be saying you're not done with me, God. Like, I know that's you telling me. I know, because I've been in church. I know, I can feel it and I can see it. But what is it for me though? Like, what do you want out of me? Like, why me? Why do I have to have these struggles in my life? And I just felt it saying, I'm not done with you. I'm not done with you. I'm not done with you. And those thoughts just kept echoing in my head, and I put the steak knife down. I'm like, okay, all right. And it's that one little spark where I said, okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. And what that revealed to me is the support system I already had. I had my parents. I had good people in my life. I just kept making excuses and trying to do it by myself. So whoever's listening, you feel like you're alone, you're by yourself. Well, we're not made to be islands. I had someone say in my life, it was funny because it was after this, whole thoughts of suicide and before the transformation of, graduating from University of Toledo and graduating Bachelor of Arts and interdisciplinary studies, focusing on philosophy and business. People started saying stuff in my life, and it's like, man, do you even know? I almost thought about suicide. Like, someone told me, you're supposed to make bridges with people, not be an island and think that you can do this life by yourself. It's a community effect. You have to reach out and get help. You have to reach out and not make excuses of why you should remain where you are. And that is quote unquote stuck. So people like my mom, who helped me inspire to start Island Refocus Radio, is people like that God uses as a strategic move. He doesn't do anything on accident. And if we are not careful and we allow our pain to become our end, then we can miss out on so many things that God has planned out for our life, but we will never know until we allow him to get us out of the mess. But the thing is, he doesn't force you. He gives you an opportunity to make a choice. That's why choices are final. Choices are final. Thoughts are great, but until you make that choice and take action, they're just thoughts. And fortunately, I didn't take that action on that day when I was sitting in front of my laptop, in front of my computer in my apartment. And when I felt that saying, I'm not done with you. I mean, you fast forward, I have a radio show where I encourage people on every show. That's my mission. It's to encourage people, refocus. Every day is a chance for you to gain clarity, because faith without works is dead. But God, Jesus, without him in your life, in your heart, you're done. There's nothing in this world that can replace what God has for you. Nothing. And if you're not careful, you can spend your whole life making excuses. Or, like I said on your show, God will give you opportunity to let go so that he can come in. And the moment you let go and he comes into your life, that's when the spark happens. That's when the motivation happens. That's when, even if you struggle, if God allowed me to go through the other things and make it, why can't I make it through this season? So that's my story. And that's the bottom line.
Shemaiah, you said something very impactful when God spoke to you and said, I'm not done with you. And so with that, we encourage our listeners to listen to that voice, God's voice, as he speaks to you. I'm not done with you, and that the best is yet to come. Rely on the Lord. He is your Savior. He loves you just as much as he loves me and Shemaiah. And we encourage you to step forward, to reach out to us at the Birdwell Foundation for PTSD so that we can connect with you and help you in your process of healing through PTSD or any suicidal tendencies or thoughts, that you are not alone. Shemaiah, thank you for sharing with us your experience on PTSD and on this thinking of suicidal thoughts. In closing, perhaps you may have PTSD or you may know of someone who does. Either way, we at the Birdwell Foundation on PTSD encourage you to connect and partner with us by calling our 24/7 hotline at 830-822-2563. Once again, that's 830-822-2563. Finally, we at the Birdwell Foundation on PTSD thank you for listening to our weekly podcast. But more importantly, we are standing by to serve you. God bless you. And remember, we at the Birdwell Foundation believe that no one heals alone.